Hi, everybody. I am here with Sonya at the 2017 Ohio Bigfoot Conference. Sonya, you're a very special guest here. Can you tell me a little bit about why and what you do?
Well, I'm a paranormal researcher by hobby, but I'm actually a well-known spiritualist in Ohio. The ghost lady. I run Haunted Cleveland tours. I do ghost tours on Halloween, and my main job is to help people who are scared about the ghosts in their house, or they have something really nasty that they need to get rid of. So I'm known as the lady that gets rid of the ghosts.
Kind of the original Ghostbuster.
Yeah, one of them.
One of them.
One of them. And in Ohio here, I had a Bigfoot encounter when I was 15 in Mohican State Park. And that's what sparked my interest. Like many people, enthusiasts, you get a flavor or something, or you get that adrenaline, or something happens. You got to answer the question of what was that?
Can you tell us about your encounter?
My encounter when I was 15, or the most recent one that I actually seen with my eyes recently.
Well, let's start with the one when you were 15 and then
Okay,
move
good.
to the recent one.
Okay, if you do want to read the whole encounter, it's in Dina Palazzini's book, one of her books she wrote about. And I was listening to the Boy Scout leader talking to the campground owner about the Boy Scouts being harassed in the middle of the night. Backpacks were being gone through, something was poking at tents and was scaring the kids. And the owner said, "They're not going to bother you." He's like, "It's okay." And they're like, "No, we're out of here." So they said they're leaving. He goes, "No, the Bigfoots won't bother you." So I heard this and got a couple of kids together from the campgrounds. I was 15. We went looking for this thing, and I found tracks. And I found my first set of tracks, and I knew better to put my foot down. And I actually caught 2 tracks. Later that night, we went out when it was dark, and we heard something scream from across the woods. Now, in the 70s, at that time, 1978, there was reports of Bigfoots in Mohican and the Minerva area with cats in assistance of like pet cats or hunting cats. I don't know what they were. But we heard definitely what we thought were cat screams. Maybe it was a Bigfoot, but I was thinking it was cat screams. Something followed me back to the cabin. I really at first thought it was a big cat because they stalk you. Yeah. And I'm 15. I'm thinking, I don't have a knife. I don't have nothing. I get to the cabin. Well, long story short, it ended up against the cabin, and it came up close. And when it did that, I did a little bit of the telepathic psychic, "Hey," or "You," or "You," and it got startled and fell into the cabin. And the wall of the cabin shook so hard that our bunk beds came off the walls, the wooden bunkhouse. And it put a wrinkle in the metal roof, and it got up and ran away. In the morning, and we were terrified. We woke up the girls up. I happened to be up because I knew that it followed me back. Never saw it, but I heard it run away. So I heard it, I saw the tracks, I felt it. The owner, Ken, had to come down. He goes, "What the heck?" And there was no tire tracks, it almost looked like a truck hit the side of the building. It was that damaged. It was really big and heavy, and it wasn't the horses. It wasn't like a horse, because you would have seen horse tracks, but it was a big, heavy boom in the side of the cabin. And then later on, jumped to 2013, I had another encounter in Mohican where there's a very steep area where the dam, it even says there's beware, this is a steep terrain, beware. And these people had these kids running around screaming and yelling, these little kids. In my mind, I was thinking, why would you let your little ones with these crevasses and deep cliffs? Why would you let your kids? But I was thinking that. So we get to the area where we first start to walk in, and there's kind of a slope, and I'm known to have vertigo. I don't do well looking down on stuff. So I turned this way to face the rock wall to get through the area. And as I did that, I looked up to inch my way along the wall, and there was a Bigfoot looking down at me. And it was kind of on its arms, and it was looking over, and all the hair was hanging on. I didn't have any hair here, but all the hairs were hanging down, looking at me, and he went, I swear to God he did. So then I turned to immediately, turned to my friend, "Oh my God, I saw a tree stump." Looked up, it was gone. It was that fast. And then I kept insisting that I think I just saw a tree stump. I think I just saw a tree stump. In the meantime, one of my friends who we were hiking with came tearing back at us, all excited. "Did you hear that running? Did you hear that big thing running?" I was like, "I just saw the tree stump. I just saw the Bigfoot." And it was a reddish brown. It was more of a juvenile because it wasn't like a huge 8-foot tall one. It was more like maybe my size.
Okay.
I couldn't tell any really features of it. I just remember the skin around the eyes, because when it was hanging down, the hair's hanging down, the perspective of it is like when you look up at somebody and their hairs are hanging down, they're looking down at you. And it was just brownish, reddish, and he looked surprised. So that's why everybody's here at the park, because we all get together. Probably 90% of the people here have seen something or have had something happen, and so I have a knowing. I've seen a Bigfoot. I know.
A lot of people that have encounters sometimes don't want to come forward or afraid to. Maybe people won't understand them. What would you recommend to somebody that might have had an encounter that is not sure whether or not to come forward and make a report or not? What would you recommend?
There is a way to make a report, and it can be anonymous. And the BFRO website, not that I'm affiliated with them, but it's a well-known nationwide, it's a base that you can go in and do it anonymously and make the report. Chances are there could be other reports. The problem with that is that then it's not credible, because if you're not allowed to be forthcoming and come and look and have it investigated, it's hard to believe somebody.
So essentially, the Ohio Bigfoot Convention is a place where somebody can feel welcome
Yeah.
to share their story
Yeah.
and be a part of something
Yes,
that
and
they
we're
can't
all
explain.
And we're all family. We all get along, and we're all mature people and little kids, and we get like the best people. But yeah, you can come and have a Bigfoot encounter. You could even anonymously call me and leave an anonymous. I do an anonymous report, but unless we can follow up on it, it's hard to put it in the record. Unless you can follow up on a report. But if people want to get it off their chest and be part of the psychological phenomena, how it feels to come and just be part of the group. Yes, I believe. Oh, good, somebody believes me. Oh, good, somebody. I get it now.
Now, for somebody that might not have ever had an encounter, but is willing to get out there and maybe do a little investigating on their own, what are some things that you would recommend to them? Good places to start or things to try?
Things to try. Food. They seem to be in Ohio attracted to our food. It doesn't mean that you should habitually really feed them a lot. I know that if you feed them a lot, and then you stop feeding them, they become aggressive. But yeah, food, picnics, barbecues, going to a picnic area in Salt Fork here and just hanging out, cooking stuff. Keep your eyes open.
Do they tend to be curious?
They tend to be curious. The smell, just like any big hairy man, they're attracted by, good food smells. Seriously, when you're hungry, food travels. I mean, it's good. I think cooking. There's your answer. Cooking. Get outside, do what you normally do. Because when you're out there trying to stalk them and hunt, they know hunting behavior. They're going to avoid people who are sneaking around the woods, and they're going to do it. You be a normal day-to-day activity, regular activity. Have a GoPro set up on you or a recorder set out. Because it's really hard to capture it with a camera. It's really tough to have that camera right there. So it's good if you have something ongoing, an ongoing
Absolutely.
camera, and it helps. But the chances of having encounters go where the most reports are. Be familiar with the maps. Be familiar with what they're reporting on BFRO or other websites that are saying these encounters are happening. You might see a wave of, in October there's a lot over here, and in November they're over here, and in December. Because I'm a nerd, I get into it. I like to track where they're around Ohio.
Should anybody be afraid to come forward?
No, don't be afraid to come forward, because I believe, and until I saw one, I wasn't sure. It was maybe on the fringe of paranormal, which is unexplainable. But I deal with ghosts, so anybody wants to come forward, there are people who could comfort them and commiserize with them, and don't be afraid to speak up. You can come to a meeting and be anonymous. You don't even have to tell anybody your name, and just spill it out, get it out there. Of course, you're going to be asked a lot of 10 questions, but mostly I want to go out in the field and look where you said that happened.
Absolutely.
I'm after the most recent reports.
Now,
I'm not in this for the money. I'm not in this to get on TV over it. I'm not in this to be in the books. It's more of the psychological desire to understand what is it?
absolutely. Finding out what it was you experienced.
It's almost like a trauma that I keep repeating over and over in my head what I saw, the fringy hair, the details of it, the nose, the skin, leathery skin here, and over and over, like every day, almost like a trauma or a car accident or a death or something you've experienced. You think about it over and over and over again.
How can we at home find out more about you, how to contact you, and what you do?
Well, I offer the ghost tours generally seasonally and on Halloween time. HauntedClevelandTours.com is my website. I also do tarot card parties. I also work cold cases. If anybody has, I don't charge for any of that. It's if anybody needs help with that, I do a lot of free help you out with psychic cases and things, especially cold cases. I enjoy detective type work, solving stuff. I love cemetery work and diving into that. Yeah. But yeah, get in touch with me. I also have a phone number 440-775-1217. I live in Oberlin, Ohio. I am accessible. You can call me.